I'm going to be reading the highest and the lowest rated books on my physical TBR. These books could not be any more different. I did use the ratings on the story graph. You can't sort by the rating, but I have a Notion page that has all the ratings. So with an average rating of 4.81, I will be reading Know My Name by Chanel Miller. This is a memoir about a woman and her sexual assault story and going through the trial and kind of taking her life back. And then with an average rating of 2.63, I will be reading Hot Singles in Your Area by Jordan Shively. This one came out recently versus this one being out for a couple years, but that's still not a good rating at all. This is a cosmic horror book, which makes sense that it's on the lower end. And if you look at the edges, you can see that there are some pages where there is text that comes to the edge. So I'm sure this is going to be a weird one and a lot of people aren't going to like that aspect of it. But what do you expect from a book with the cover like this? And there's a tooth on the spine. Truly, these books are complete opposites, and I'm excited to get to both. I have started Know My Name. I got to chapter 6. These are pretty long chapters, so I'm 125 pages in, and this is rough. It's very rough. So if you are not aware of what this is the, actually, I don't know what year it was. Okay, it was 2015. I knew it was, oh God, I mean, that was 10 years ago, but I knew that it was a more recent thing. I remember hearing about it when it happened, seeing it in the news. So this is Chanel Miller reclaiming her story pretty much. So she was sexually assaulted at a party. She was 22 at the time and was going to a house party at Stanford where she grew up. She lived like right outside of the campus and she was going to meet friends there, and she was drinking and blacked out at some point, and then the next thing she knows, she's in the hospital and they are testing her. This whole book centers around this case, and this is not true crime in any way. Like, she was the victim of a very horrific thing, and we are seeing her experiences, her processing everything that happened to her. She very much separated herself from this pretty much character that dealt with this horrific circumstance to really be able to move on with her life and to live without it constantly being this thing that she was thinking about. So right now in her story, we are seeing the beginnings of everything, and then her going to college afterwards and learning about the relationship that she was in and the start of the court case. So she was able to remain anonymous, and she was referred to as Emily Doe. And then when she went to testify, her first name was given, but everybody else, like her sister, was involved. She was at the party, so she had to testify, and her name was put everywhere. It's been interesting and heartbreaking to see the ways that she was coping with a situation like this, and also kind of seeing a little bit of the behind the scenes of how court process works. So it was pushed back a bunch of times for various reasons and just like different things that she was told to do. So it's rough. It's really rough, but I think that the way that she is telling this is very compelling as well. This book is very, very highly rated, and I don't think it's just because of somebody telling a story about something so awful that they went through, but the way that she is telling it is also done really well. I'm listening to the audiobook of this too, which the author is narrating, so I'll probably continue to read the book with that as well. I met Chanel Miller at an event that I went to last year. She just wrote a children's book, but there were copies of this, so I was able to pick up the signed copy, and I didn't know much about her, but she is an artist too. So I've been enjoying seeing her working towards something that meant a lot to her at that time. And I just think it's fun to have like a little doodle in here as well. So I am not enjoying it because it's a very difficult read. It is angering the way that the media treated her, and really anybody in situations like this, ridiculous, very angering. The way that women versus men are talked about in situations like this, the way that awful people are described as like just somebody that made a mistake, but then the victim is berated and harassed and every single thing that they did is picked apart. It makes me really mad. So to not think about that for a little bit, I am going to open a package. I will be pausing this and reading more of it tomorrow. It's not one that I really want to read the whole thing at once. I also have started the lowest rated book as well. I'm a little bit in. So I got in the mail The Ghostwriter by Julie Clark. This was a book of the month book and I could have gotten it, but look at this. I am obsessed with this. This actually, I don't know, it kind of is one of my favorite sprayed edges. I just think that this is so cool. It's also on the top and the bottom as well. I think that's the only thing about this, but it's on the first print of the book. Yeah, the rest is just like a standard thing, but I've enjoyed from Julie Clark previously. This is about a ghostwriter who is the only child of a very famous author, and she has offered to ghostwrite her father's last book. And there's something that happened with him in the past as well. So really, really excited to have a copy of this because it's pretty and because I think I'm gonna like the book. My dog is panting right here if you can hear him. He has too much energy. We went to the movies. It was horrific. It's called Friendship by, wow, this is not a book. Paul Rudd was one of the main people, and Tim somebody, I still cannot remember his last name. Did not like a single thing about it. I thought it was very, very not good. Not my taste in movies. I wouldn't really recommend it in general. So yeah, it is what it is. But before we left, I got to chapter 10 of Know My Name, which is about 250 pages in. And where we are now is the end of the trial and the sentencing that happened. And even though she won, I'm gonna, I guess, spoil things, but this happened in real life, so, you know, it is what it is. And I still think it's worth the read, knowing some of the information. Even though she did technically win the case, the sentencing was so minimal, and it was heartbreaking to watch her process these things and dealing with emotions of sexual assault cases, rape cases, being not taken seriously a lot, and this technically being a win, but still feeling like a huge loss because of how everybody treated him versus her. And it's frustrating that our society is like this. It's heartbreaking to watch somebody go through something like this, and it doesn't just impact her, it impacts everybody in her life in some sort of way. It's a lot. I don't know what the rest of this book is going to be, actually, because there's still a decent amount left. I'm assuming, obviously, still like processing things, learning how to not move on, but like, I guess just process things, figuring out how to deal with all of these emotions. Like, it's truly a lot to go through, and it's not even just dealing with the assault itself. It's dealing with the way that she's been treated and the way that society is, and it just like bleeding into other parts of her life. I am really looking forward to seeing her pursuing more of the things that make her happy, because there was a lot of that in here. Learning about her doing comedy was really fun to see, and just trying out different things and deciding that she is capable of doing things, and if she wants to do something, she should try it. So I've been really liking that, and I'm assuming we're gonna get some more of that, some more of her relationships and everything. I don't like to talk about my, I guess, not feelings, but this is somebody's story. It's somebody's very personal story, and I don't want to be like, oh, this is interesting or this is compelling, but I think the way that she is telling the story is both of those things. And it's sad and heartbreaking, but also you can feel that she still has hope, and I think that that is a really great thing and is something that is important. I think that this is a great read to challenge how people think about things. There are already things that I was like, yes, I agree with you, but there are sadly a lot of people that do not. So I think that this is just a really great read in general. I am on Patreon sprints. I think gonna finish this tonight and then completely move to Hot Singles in Your Area. Truly a very extreme change of pace between those two. But yeah, would not recommend Friendship, but I would recommend this. I have finished Know My Name. Oh, this was rough. The last third of this was really not about her continuing her life. It was about really the impact of everything and kind of the state of the world, why people that are already going through something so horrific are put through such awful judgment and just not being treated really how they should be in any sense of that. The people who are doing the sexual assault get off a lot easier than the victims, especially in terms of the court. Obviously, there is sometimes punishment, but the way that victims versus the perpetrators are talked about is absolutely ridiculous. And a lot of that is caused by people in power who have said and done the same things and are somehow still allowed to run things, and it's sickening, it's disgusting, it makes me angry. I appreciate a lot of the things that she said in here about what she wanted this book to be for people. I think that it was very, very, very well done. I can't fathom being in this situation, but I also love that she used her voice to try to help as many people as she can. I don't really rate memoirs in general because I feel like it's just weird to rate somebody's story and to say like, wow, your life was 5 stars. But like, really, this is 5 stars. I probably will rate it just because I do think that that encourages people to pick up things like this. I don't read a lot of nonfiction. Usually when I do, it is a memoir, but I think this is a really great one. I think it has a lot of important things to say, and if you don't realize how much victims go through, I think it's something that is really important to learn about. Both seeing all the horrific things with the way that our court system is set up, but also seeing the hope in people like this as well. And I guess kind of making the best out of a very horrific situation. Seeing how people can come together, a community for people. But yeah, I completely recommend this. I 100% understand why this is the highest rated book on my TBR, and I think you should read it as well. So on to a very different note, we will be jumping into Hot Singles in Your Area. This one is cosmic horror. It is weird. I've started it a little bit. This is only 5 pages in, but there are these newspaper things that go for a couple pages. There's some drawings in them. It's been quite a time. I'm going to read a little bit more, probably 2 more chapters before I check in and tell you more about it, but it's a weird one. I forgot to tell you that I did log Know My Name for the Amazing Readathon. We are currently on the 4th leg, which is a comfort read, and I finished this, and this is not a comfort read. I didn't go into it expecting it to be that, but I needed to read it for this video, so I will be using one of my power-up cards just to submit any book, even if it didn't count for a prompt. So this is 464 pages, so I will get the points for that, but it doesn't fit any of the other bonuses. I just got my Aardvark book club, is that what it's called? Yeah, Aardvark book club box in the mail, so I wanted to open it with you, and then we'll chat about Hot Singles in Your Area. So I got 2 books from Aardvark this month. The first one that I got is Someone Knows by Vi Keeland, or is it V Keeland? I don't know, I should look that up. This was their thriller option. I have enjoyed from this author previously. This one is about a professor. The synopsis in her books is always so short. I don't really know what it's about, but I'm excited to read it. The other one that I got is The Starving Saints by Caitlin Starling. I have read 3 of her books now. I think she only has a novella out that I have not read, but they have Okay. I'm gonna bend the cover now, or the dust jacket if I go any further. They did a special edition of the Starving Saints, so I obviously had to get it. I've given this author 4.5 stars, and also like 2.5. But this one is a fever dream of medieval horror. There's castles and knights and cannibals. So very excited to get this. 2 more books added to my TBR, which is fine because both books from this video are from my TBR, so it doesn't count. Oh darn it, I got 3 books in this video. Anyway, we're not talking about that. We're talking about the lowest rated book on my TBR, Hot Singles in Your Area. I've made it 60 pages in. So in this we are following Noah is his name, and he is applying for a job that is described as no experience preferred, and he gets there, and it is for this print company that is called Printed Matter, and it's really cool because we get some of Printed Matter's work in here. I do think there's a little too much at once. I think like maybe 2 less pages would have been great because we get that 2 times in here. The thing is, that is the most interesting part of this. We are also following someone named Malaysia, and she's the only human left in this city called Silence. And she's just wandering around, and then she comes across this guy that kind of seems like a ghost, but like isn't really interacting with her. He's hunched over a typewriter, fingers enmeshed with the keys. And there's something about her finding a missing girlfriend. So we're figuring out how these two are related, what Printed Matter is. The problem is the most interesting part of this are these newspaper things. Everything else boring. And also, I don't like the writing. I do not like it at all. It is taking me forever to read, and there's a way that that can work and a way that it doesn't. I think that this book is trying too hard to be weird. I think that the format itself is interesting. There are those moments with the newspapers, but there's also footnotes in here and some other little things where just like the book itself is part of the story, I would say, but none of that is interesting enough for the actual story and to make up for the fact that I don't like the writing. So I will be DNFing. I am really sad. I wanted to love it. I wanted to sit here and say, I get why people don't like it, but this was so fun. It was interesting. It was unique. And like, it is unique, but I don't know if the other two apply to this book. I had high hopes for this. I bought it knowing that it was a very low rated book, and I was convinced I was going to love it anyway. I did not. But really because of the writing style, not because of anything else, even though not much was happening. I was debating DNFing for a while because there were really interesting moments that I wanted to keep going because of, but I couldn't push through the writing, and it was making me not want to read, and I'm not interested in being in a situation that sounds really weird and dramatic, but like I don't want to not want to read because of a book when I could just quit reading it and read another book. So I will be DNFing this. So I didn't get to halfway into this, so I am not able to count it for anything for the Amazing Readathon. So it's just a book I tried, didn't like, that's fine. The people were right with their opinions on this one. And the people were right with their opinions on this one. This was a very fun video to do though, because I kind of was putting both of these off because I knew the general consensus on them and I was intimidated. Truly would recommend Know My Name if you have not read it yet. This one, I mean, give it a go if you want. There's not an audiobook out for it currently, but there is one coming out in August or something. So maybe the writing style will work better in an audio format, but I don't think I'll be giving it another go. If you've made it to the end and want to leave me an emoji to say you're here, you can leave me a star for the average star rating. I would like to know your favorite low rated book that you have read. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I hope to see you very soon. Bye.